As we reach the midpoint of the week and the month, we're thankful you're taking 10 for CNN 10. I'm Carl Azuz. A quote starts off today's show. This is not an ordinary case, and all of the world is looking at us. Those are the words of the president of Iran. He was talking about the crash of a passenger plane last Wednesday, shortly after it took off from an airport in the Iranian capital on its way to Ukraine. At first, Iran said a technical problem was the reason why the plane went down. But the United States and other countries said Iran was responsible. And after 3 days of denying it had any involvement, the Iranian government admitted that its military shot down the plane by mistake. Since then, several arrests have been made. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said those responsible would be punished, and protests welled up in the Iranian capital, with demonstrators chanting death to the dictator and asking for Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, to step down. Many of the protesters are angry because it took several days for the government to admit it was responsible. Dozens of them were arrested in the demonstrations, which Iran's government called illegal rallies. Iranian President Rouhani says his government is accountable and that an event like the plane's destruction wouldn't happen again. All 176 people aboard the Ukraine International Airlines flight were killed. It was shot down shortly after Iran launched missile strikes on Iraqi military bases where American troops were staying. That came after the U.S. killed a controversial Iranian general who was in Iraq. Now, Iran's government has internal challenges to deal with as it deals with international ones involving the U.S. and other countries. Another big story we've been following this new year, the widespread wildfires in Australia. We have some hopeful news about that. Badly needed rain is in the forecast for the southeastern part of the country, where the fires have been worst. Firefighters don't expect there'll be enough rain to soak the state of New South Wales and put out its fires, but it could bring some relief where there's enough of it. Meantime, the government of New South Wales is tossing thousands of pounds of sweet potatoes and carrots out of helicopters. It says this is to help the brush-tailed rock wallabies who are likely to survive the fires but have less to eat if their vegetation has burned. So Operation Rock Wallaby is raining food from the air. The quality of that air isn't good. Smoke from the bushfires is causing problems for residents and some of the tennis players preparing for the Australian Open in Melbourne. It's one of many problems caused by fires in southeast Australia.
Here in New South Wales, we're getting a bit of a break from the smoke that we've been breathing in over the last several days. It really is exhausting when you're outside for an extended period of time, breathing in that heavy smoke. And there have even been reports of birds falling out of trees because they can't handle it in places like Canberra, the Australian capital. But for people who are able to breathe a bit better and get back to their homes, start assessing the damage, they're realizing what a monumental task lies ahead as they try to rebuild their lives. In Wingelow, Australia, nobody imagined the fire could move so quickly. The front line was miles away from David Brueggemann's home and store last week.
But then we saw the sky go red. And we go, that's not normal. Then we heard the sound of the fire. Like a furnace, like a freight train right next to you.
That familiar sound followed by a terrifying, almost apocalyptic scene.
Another house gone.
The Morton fire, so intense, it created its own weather, raining down fiery embers on this village of about 500.
And there's houses exploding, fire everywhere. And think, my house is gone for sure.
That picture you took, you thought would be the last you'd ever see of this place.
For sure. I figured, that's it, gone.
A feeling shared by Wingelow Fire Captain Mark Wilson.
It's different when it's your own town. Like I've been everywhere else, helped out everywhere else, but the emotions and everything kick in going, yeah, this is my house, my friends, my loved ones.
Wilson's team of volunteer firefighters battled throughout the night.
It's a feeling like you're losing. You don't realise how much you have saved until the next day. We saved well over 80 houses that night.
Even the most seasoned firefighters say it doesn't make sense how a house like this can be standing, the bushes are green, and yet just a few steps away, everything next door, gone. The fire danger is far from over.
We got a fire at over at Peter and Simona's.
As temperatures heat up, small fires reignite. But how quickly could a small, hot spot turn to a a dangerous situation?
Oh, very easy, because we've still got a lot of unburnt trees in this property, and very quick, especially with the little breeze that picks up.
Here in New South Wales, Australia's hardest hit state, the fire season is only halfway through.
We're the shop. There's no other shop here, and we're the centre where everything is.
Brueggemann says he's doing everything he can to help neighbors who've lost everything.
We thought we should have lost about 50 houses and people dead. No one died, no one injured, and we lost a dozen houses, but all those people are taken care of now. It's a miracle. I call this the miracle of Winslow.
Nobody knows how long that miracle will last. Insurance claims are already starting to pile up. The Insurance Council of Australia estimates more than $1 billion so far, a number undoubtedly that will rise in the coming days and weeks ahead as people get back to their homes and start to assess the damage. Will Ripley, CNN in Mittagong, New South Wales, Australia.
10-second trivia. Who won Major League Baseball's World Series in 2017? Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, Houston Astros, or Kansas City Royals? The Houston Astros defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers in 7 games to take the 2017 World Series. But now that win is clouded by controversy, and the Astros are being penalized for cheating in the 2017 season. The team's manager and general manager have been fired. The team's been fined $5 million, and it's lost its first and second round draft selections for the next 2 seasons. Why? A Major League Baseball investigation found that the Astros used a camera to steal the signs of the teams they played. Sign stealing is as old as baseball itself, but Major League rules say you can't use electronic devices to do it. And the league says in 2017, the Astros used a camera in center field to decode what other teams' catchers were signaling. And that info was passed along to Astros players. Sometimes a trash can was hit a certain number of times to let a batter know what kind of pitch was coming. Major League Baseball's commissioner says virtually all of the Astros players had some knowledge or involvement in the scheme, but that he couldn't determine how much each player knew. He also says he couldn't determine whether cheating helped the Astros win any games. So the team gets to keep its 2017 World Series title, though that angered fans of the Los Angeles Dodgers who lost that year's series to the Astros. Alex Cora, who was the bench coach of the 2017 Astros, was accused of being directly involved in the scheme, and he later became manager of the Boston Red Sox. So now the league's investigating whether the Red Sox also used illegal sign stealing in 2018. Before the selfie as we know it existed, a photographer started taking self-portraits every day starting on January 11th, 2000. But Carl, you might say, that's almost exactly 20 years ago. Yes, and now he's edited more than 7,200 photos into the video you're about to see a clip of. It's like a time lapse of a man's face. Is it selfish? Well, it's selfish, and it's amazing he's been able to selfie stick with it so long. Some shudder at the thought of working so hard to see them selfies age through a lens, but if you're bokeh with the idea, you're sure of yourself, and you can focus long enough, the release of a flash-synced video with so much depth of field yields such a burst of achievement, it's hard to control one's selfie at the mirror image. To our viewers at Renaissance Public Academy, it's great to have y'all watching from Molalla, Oregon, and thanks for subscribing and commenting at youtube.com/CNN10.